older, and this is the one game he can't go to, the end of the season game, and he's been 25 years later and never goes to the last game of the season, which just shows how people still feel about it.
And one thing it's easy to forget as well, David, is after the game and all the memorial services, is there was a huge rebuilding process, and Bradford played elsewhere, didn't they, for a time?
They did, that's right. If you imagine it, Bradford City gained promotion to the old second division, the first time they'd been out of the lower divisions for 48 years, and yet they'd no ground of their own to play on. I mean, it's difficult enough coping with a high division, but to have that handicap as well was dreadful, really. And so they played some of their early games at Leeds United's ground, Huddersfield Town's ground, and then eventually at Odsal Stadium, the present home of Bradford Bulls. Of course, it was known as Bradford Northern Rugby League Club in those days. And that wasn't ideal by any means, but it was important that the club continued to play in Bradford, and supporters didn't have to travel to neighbouring towns like Leeds and Huddersfield to play the matches. And of course it was 18 months before the ground was rebuilt, and it was rebuilt in 6 months between June 1986 and opened in December 1986 on a very, very emotional day. Bobby Robson, then England manager, brought an England team to play Bradford City, and I think Stuart, who was there on the day himself, I think would agree with me, that's one of the most emotional days of certainly of my life anyway.
Well, they've certainly got a great stadium today, but we should say that our thoughts are very much with the family and friends of those who lost their lives back on the 11th of May 1985. David, thank you very much for your memories today, and you can hear more about the events of that day back in 85 with Gabby again on Radio 4 tonight as they look back at those that terrible day in May at 8 o'clock. And following us, Gabby has been talking to Major Phil Packer as well about his latest remarkable achievement, climbing the highest peaks in both England, Scotland and Wales. Well, later in the programme we'll be looking at the current Bradford squad with their captain Sesh Rayman, and we'll also be joined by the current boss as well. Peter Taylor will be down at pitch side with us. And Stuart and Lee will be hanging around to talk about the title race in the Premier League, which could be decided this weekend, because Chelsea, if they win at Anfield and then Manchester United fail at Sunderland, it would be their title. And that would be a funny end to a season for an interesting few months for John Terry, the former England captain. You can understand really why occasionally he likes to escape to the golf course, and that's where Sarah Sturt caught up with him to talk handicaps, Capello and life in the spotlight.
Sure. What's your handicap then?
I play officially off 8. I haven't played for about a year or so, I'll put myself up to a 12.
What is it about footballers and golf? I mean, we know it's addictive, but every footballer seems to play golf.
It's sort of one of them things where you can come and switch off for, 9 holes or 18 holes, and it gets us away from football.
I think Rooney plays a little bit.
Yeah, we all
Crouch,
play, actually.
Most of the
Crouch
squad.
is getting a lot of practice in at the minute. The manager enjoys the game as well.
Is he any good, Fabio?
He is actually, he's not bad at all, yeah. He gets frustrated though, he does get a little bit angry, yeah.
When it comes to football, Fabio Capello is a man not to be crossed, as John Terry found out in a turbulent start to 2010.
It baffles me that people can turn around and say how I'm feeling or what I must be feeling. Only I know that.
After a weekend of tabloid allegations and revelations,
pressure is mounting on the England captain John Terry to stand down following allegations about his private life.
Well, it had to be today. John Terry scores for Chelsea. The headlines will be on the front pages and the back pages.
John Terry has been sacked as England captain after a week of damaging allegations about his personal life.
When I had the meeting with the manager, it was obviously difficult to take. But at the same time, I respected him. I told him that, nothing changes. I still give you 100%. I took it on my shoulders and moved on. There's no point me dwelling on it. The only way I can go about my business is to play well. Hopefully, be in the side at the World Cup and hopefully one day get that back.
All issues England are on the back burner for now. Terry's focus on the pitch is with Chelsea, as an incredible domestic season nears its climax.
Has it been one of the best Premiership seasons ever?
I think for the neutral, yeah. I don't think the players would agree, actually. Would have preferred, to have been away with it a few points ahead. But it's been so many, tops and turns throughout the year. Man United was top at one stage, Arsenal looked out of it, they've come back. I think it's been really good, actually, because it's shown the improvement of the smaller sides. The likes of Wigan, they turned us over early on in the season, beat Arsenal last week as well. So I think, before, I think 3 or 4 years ago, you could look at them kind of games and pretty much predict you would pick up 3 points. But nowadays, who knows what can happen? I think the improvement of the smaller sides has been massive.
Chance of the double, chance to create history. How confident, how good do you all feel heading into the Liverpool match?
I think we have to feel confident, but going there is always tough. You know, the rivalry's been fierce over the years. We've had a lot of Champions League clashes late on in the stages, in the Premier League as well. You know, there's a big rivalry amongst the sides and the fans. So, going there on the day, they're going to be pumped up and up for it.
They were all United to win a 19th title, were they?
I'm not too sure. I think on the day, I don't think that comes into it at all. Sure. They'll be playing for 3 points, and their fans won't let them get away with that. Yeah, great shot.
The defeat to Inter. How did that change things within the squad?
I think when Jose first came in, we aimed to win the league, which we've done for 2 years. But with the disappointment in Moscow and the year before and the year after against Barcelona, I think we've set our sights on the Champions League. So sort of to get knocked out, our mindset was clear after that. We only have the Premiership and the FA Cup.
Drogba, 2-0 Chelsea. How important will that prove?
Abramovich came to the training ground, he had a little chat with you all, and so what was said at that point?
Yeah, I mean, a lot was made of that as well when Roman come in, but he's in the dressing rooms after games. He wants to know when we've won games, even when we win games 2 or 3-0. He said we should have got 4 or 5, and he's so passionate about the football club.
You mentioned the Champions League a couple of years ago, a penalty. Can I ask?
Yeah, of course.
Do you still think about it? Does it still haunt you to a certain extent?
Every single day it does. Yeah, it really does. The step up to win the final for us was an emotional time for me. I still sort of carry that around on my shoulders, but that'll never go, and that's something that's on my mind, season after season.
Go and hit a good golf shot
thanks
there.
a lot, yeah.
Sorry about that.
I'm under an awful lot of pressure, yeah. That's your fault, Sarah.
You made a couple of question marks from a couple of the pundits about your form heading in to the World Cup, or your form right now. What's your response to that?
Of course I've had some bad games this year, 2 or 3 bad games. But over the course of the season, I think I played 50-odd games this year. I'm expected to have, 2 or 3 bad games. But, it's not a problem for me, my teammates and myself. I know what I can do.
It has been a bit of a tough season for you. How much will the next few weeks mean for you?
I mean, not for me personally. I mean, it's strange actually because, going back to what's been reported, people sort of turn around and say it's been a tough season for me, or, I've been stressed, or I've had things on my mind. There's only one person who can come out and say that, and that's me. And I keep that very private, between myself and my family and my close friends around me. So when people sort of comment on that, it does frustrate me a little bit. It's not about my form or anyone else's form. It's about Chelsea winning things and puts a smile on the fans' faces. And if we can do that, that makes us happy as a group of players.
It's John Terry giving a good whack at the Wisley in Surrey. We moved out to the centre circle here at the Coral Window Stadium. Lee, there's John Terry trying his best to rebuild his reputation. The swing looks all right, but what about what he had to say? Do you think people will be won over by that?
Well, I think, he mentioned he was disappointed how people are sort of saying how he feels, and only one person knows how he feels, as he quite rightly said, and that's himself. I think as far as his form's concerned, I think people are going to be concerned about the end of season form. Yes, he's right that you're going to have bad games over the season, but people are concerned because it's right at the end of the season and he's not playing well. But he's got plenty of time before the World Cup. There's still some games to play. He's got a couple of friendlies to play. I think the more important thing for England is the fact that he gets back his partnership with Rio Ferdinand, because I think them two, no doubt, those two are our best 2 centre-backs, and we need them both to be fit to going into a World Cup. So that's the more important thing, that they get back together playing.
And Stuart, in terms of the game this weekend, you've played for Everton, lived in Liverpool. Do you think there are some Liverpool fans who don't mind if they lose?